Hello everyone, welcome back to StudyOnion, and today we're going to be talking about the 4 theories on the origin of the moon. Let's get started! So the first and most commonly accepted theory that we're going to be talking about today is called the giant impact hypothesis. And the theory goes that a Mars-sized object named Theia collided with the Earth approximately 4.5 billion years ago to form the moon. And there is some evidence to support this. For example, the Earth's spin and the moon's orbit have relatively similar orientations. The moon also has a relatively small iron core, which is similar to that of the Earth. And the moon is also depleted in volatile elements compared to the Earth. These all support this theory and is the most widely accepted theory on how the moon had come into its existence. Let's have a look at the fission theory. So the fission theory states that the Earth has spun very rapidly during early evolution, and some of Earth's material flung out to form the moon. So you can see this in this diagram. Because the Earth's spin was so rapid, some parts of the Earth had simply detached and had formed the moon. Another theory is the capture theory, and this states that the moon evolved in a different part of the solar system and was captured by Earth's gravitational force. And finally, the co-accretion theory simply believes that the moon and the Earth formed at the same time in the same or similar places. Now, despite the evidence supporting the giant impact hypothesis, not all astronomers agree with this model, and it does still remain a hypothesis to this day. Now let's have a little look at a practice question. Describe 3 alternative theories regarding the formation of the moon, and then explain why the giant impact hypothesis is the most widely accepted. So this question will probably be a 6 marker. And I'll just give you about a couple seconds to have a think about it and write down an answer. And if you need more time, make sure to pause the video so that you can answer this question fully. It is a 6 marker, so it should take you 6 minutes. Okay, so let's have a look at the model answers which I've written. Now, for the first 3 of these options, you can have any 2 of the 3. If you have all 3, that's great. It just means you've put more detail than you need. You actually only need to give 2 theories along with the giant impact hypothesis. I've given all 4 here so that you can compare with your answer depending on whichever ones you've given, but you only do have to give 3. Okay, so let's begin with the capture theory. So the capture theory states that the Earth and the Moon were formed as 2 separate objects at 2 different places in the solar system, and gravitational forces caused the Moon to orbit the Earth. Now, the problem with this theory, and why it's not as accepted as the giant impact hypothesis, is that capture is extremely difficult for an object as large as the Moon. The next theory, which was proposed to explain the origin of the moon, is called the fission theory. And fission theory basically states that the early Earth was spinning incredibly fast, and this speed at which it was spinning caused the Earth to split into 2 separate pieces, and the other piece that was formed became the moon. There are problems with this theory as well, and this includes the fact that the present-day Earth-Moon system should contain evidence of this rapid spin of the Earth, and none is actually present. This theory also doesn't explain the moon's lack of volatile substances. So to get the marks here, you would need to explain the theory. So as you can see, the first bullet point on both of these theories is what the theory is about. And if you can, also evaluate why that theory is not as good as the giant impact hypothesis, which is now the more widely accepted theory in the scientific community today. So you'll see me do this for the next theory, which is the condensation or co-accretion theory. And this can be given either name in an exam, so make sure you know that both of those apply and are the same theory. The co-accretion theory states that the moon and the Earth condensed individually from the same nebula that formed the solar system, with the moon formed in orbit around the Earth. Now, there are a couple of issues with this, and firstly, the lack of an iron core for the moon. Assuming that the Earth and the moon formed in relatively similar conditions due to them forming in the same nebula, they should have the same composition or similar composition. The complete lack of an iron core for the moon and the lack of an explanation for the moon's lack of volatile substances debunks this theory. And so finally, we return to the giant impact hypothesis, which is now the most widely accepted theory in the community and is the one accepted by astronomers. This states that a large Mars-sized object, which was named Theia, struck the Earth after the initial formation of the solar system and ejected large volumes of heated material from the outer layers of both of these objects, which then condensed in its orbit around the Earth to form the moon. And this has kind of three reasons why it would be accepted. Firstly, the Earth's spin and the moon's orbit have relatively similar orientations. The moon has a relatively small iron core in relation to the Earth, and this would be explained if it had collided with an object which didn't have an iron core. And finally, the moon is depleted in volatile substances compared to the Earth. And this would make sense if there had been a collision. Only the objects which had not evaporated would be able to join together to form the moon. So hopefully that explained more about the origins of the moon, and hopefully that practice question gave you an illustration of what questions on this topic could look like. Thank you very much for watching, and next week we will be back with a new video. But for now, bye!